Austin, which was like a 45-minute drive. They would send us shuttles every day to take us to the festival.
Solid.
You did that right.
You said we did it right. So we went in a day early and hit up Uchi, and they have that like unagi glazed foie that you eat at the end of your meal, and still to this day might be the greatest bite of food I've ever had in my entire life.
So we actually had a guest on the podcast about a couple weeks ago. His name on Instagram is a fat guy in Denver, and he owns just a couple different Mexican restaurants a little south. But he was like, that's one thing that he loves about the restaurant business is he gets, by owning, he expenses like trips. He's like, fuck it, I'm not going to wait and sit in like a 2-week line to get into Uchi. I'm just going to fly down to Austin and eat it. And he was like, it's goddamn amazing.
Yeah,
he's like,
it
just
really
wait till
is.
it gets here because unfortunately we have not gotten our new black Amex for this company yet.
Not yet.
Yeah, I mean, one of the great
soon.
things about being a cook is that every time you eat out, it's technically research and development, right?
Technically.
That's what Stoned Appetit is.
Yeah. So technically, I think you can write off 50% of all your meals for research and development.
See?
We need to look into this.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we are also entertaining business partners. If anyone knows how to run a business and without Kip having to learn all of this one day at a time or one interview at a time. But we do appreciate that tip. We're going to look into that.
So should we fire off some faster thinker questions and see if we can catch Merlin off guard here with?
You can't call it faster thinker. We got to come up with a cooler name than that.
Oh, I was thinking, was that the Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show that I was thinking? Faster thinker question. Yeah. Anyways. All right, we'll think of a cool name.
I was thinking Rapid Fire.
Rapid Fire.
Crossfire, and I want to play it with like the noise from that game. You remember the game Crossfire?
Yeah. Crossfire is good because it's kind of a back and forth.
Yeah. Only we aren't answering. But anyways. Yeah. All right. Fire it off.
All right, so I also added another one to it.
Uh-oh.
Since, you said you were a jam band guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're a food guy, which we've gotten to know.
Yeah.
But what we're going to do is we're going to throw you some quick ones or twos.
Okay.
Just A or B. Very binary. And
makes it easy.
This off and,
as long as there's not an all the above, I'll be okay.
No, it's one or the other.
We're not multiple choice guys, and like you mentioned, you obviously weren't either. So
no, not at all.
We've landed ourselves at this table.
Perfect.
A conversation.
All right.
So 1,
Fire.
2, 3, coffee or espresso?
Coffee.
Breakfast or dinner?
Breakfast for dinner.
Oh, Brenner? I didn't expect that curveball, even though the playoffs are going. Ice cream or cake?
Ice cream.
Bagel or croissant?
Ooh. Depends on what country I'm eating that croissant in.
In America.
Bagel.
I'm not going to be that guy, but I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
France?
Croissant.
Thick or thin crust?
Oh, thick crust is the worst fucking thing on this planet.
So Chicago, I mean, when you were eating in Chicago, let's diverge.
Sure.
Tangents,
So yeah. We're taking care of our ADD listeners today.
You didn't like the deep dish in Chicago? You were never a fan?
Dude, that's disgusting.
I'm kind of in the same boat.
I like a good pie every now and then.
It's not pizza.
No.
It's focaccia with a bunch of fucking reduced tomato shit on it, baked in the oven for an hour and a half.
What was your pizza place? Obviously, it's a thin crust, but what was the place in Chicago that you hit up?
They don't make good pizza in Chicago.
So where do you eat pizza if you want it? Or do you just make it yourself?
So actually, recently I ate at. So they have a thin crust, which I think is very cardboardy. It's not like the yeasty dough, right? And so Bonci, which is I think Bourdain discovered this dude in Italy and interviewed him once, and his personality was amazing. And he does these big baked pizzas, like sheet tray pizzas, and then they cut them with scissors.
Oh, public school pizza.
And then they weigh it, and you pay a price per pound, which is genius on them because their portions are perfect every time because you're paying per pound. So you can't fuck up a portion, right?
Yeah.
Which is one of the...
I've never heard of someone selling pizza.
It is the most
like
genius thing.
Where is this?
It's in the Randolph area right now.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So Randolph Row, right off Fulton Market. And it is, hands down, some of the best pizza. But it's different. It's more closer to that kind of thicker deep dish, but it's cooked faster, and it's got a little more crunch on the bottom and chewy texture at the same time that great, Nepalese style has. But yeah, if I want pizza, I want Napoleon.
Where do you go for your pizza fix here in Denver?
Bardo.
Yeah. All right.
I think Cart Driver does a really good job as well.
So I'm a hops and pie guy over there on Tennyson.
Yeah, I ate there a couple weeks ago, and It was average to me. Nobody does pizza though like New York. I mean,
yeah,
I don't care what anybody says.
True.
Pizza in New York is hands down the best pizza in America.
Is it the water? Because everyone talks about how like the water's like in the bagels as well. Is it that, or is
I think it's
like
I think it's the story.
I think it's they've been
like
doing
croissants in France.
They've been doing it longer there, right? Like, I mean,
why
that's
not Italy?
So Italy is great, right? I've never personally been to Italy and gone on pizza tours, right?
Yeah.
But so I think, yeah, of course, that's where the origins are. But where did those first immigrants go to? They went to New York, right, in the 40s, right, 30s and 40s, and so they've
Shout
been
out
doing
to our Godfather fans.
They've been doing that for a long time there. So you have 5 generations that have been cooking pizza in New York, right? So they take it to that traditional levels. I think Italians are very close guarded of their culture, right?
Yeah.
Of their food histories, of their staples, and they take the time to make fresh pasta, and they take the time to make a marinara sauce that takes 2 days, not what Americans would do to try to make something in 30 minutes. So when you have those, those
almost prideful meals.
Correct. When you have those guidelines and you do it the right way, it tastes better. It tastes better, right? You're letting your dough rise for X amount of hours, and then you're letting it sit there and retard in the walk-in for X amount of hours, and then you're pulling it out again, and you're stretching it every single time you have a new pizza comes in. And
delicious.
You're cooking it in a real wood-burning oven.
I've worked in like 9 Italian restaurants or pizza restaurants. None of those do that.
None of those do that. Exactly, right. So
I worked a Pizza Hut delivery gig, and I don't even want to tell you about how those pizzas are made, but it's not. It's not
Don't they
pizza.
come in the pizza crust.
Oh, they're
frozen.
man, it is incredible. They're like frozen circle disc. You spray them down.
On a Sunday after a Saturday night show, though, I'll fuck up some cheese sticks and pizzas.
So
Pizza Hut.
I think you really have to have that. I think when you look at those great Italian pizza guys, they're hardcore Italian. I mean, they're hard. There's no ifs, ands, or buts when they open their mouths where they're from. They are Queens Italian. And they. I'm sorry, they make awesome. The best. I worked with this Christian Petroni is his name at a restaurant called Fortina, and his parents are from Italy, and so he's first generation, and just the technique and the commitment to that craft of making real pasta and real pizza really elevated the way I looked at pizza, tasted pizza, and then understood what was good in bad pizza.
There you go.
Well, that was a great. We're not done with rapid fire.
Okay. No. That was for.
I got a couple music ones.
Okay, all right. So last food one: taco or burrito?
Taco all fucking day long.
I'm with you on that.
Oh, hold on. Actually, one more food one.
All right, go.
Illegal Pete's or Chipotle?
Oh man, I haven't had an Illegal Pete's burrito in a long time.
We're anti-Chipotle on this podcast since they moved their headquarters, and Illegal Pete's still Colorado-centric, and we're Colorado-centric.
So Illegal Pete's.
There we go.
Okay, there we go.
Go ahead and short that answer for you. All right, here's mine. Widespread or fish?
Oh, fish all day long.
Bisco or Humphreys?
Ooh. I'm friends with both of those guys, so I'm going to say a tie.
How smoking hot is Stacy's wife? Smoking hot. Let's call it Green Sky or Yonder?
Man, I mean... New Yonder or Jeff Austin Yonder?
Without Jeff Austin, he's no longer there.
Yeah, so I'm going to say
we're not going to say Jeff Austin band at all.
Right, I'm going Green Sky.
Shout out to our boy P. Hoff. He was on the pod last week.
Nice.
Had a bunch of sellout shows, not only at the Ogden and the.
I had dinner one night with Anders and the big gigantic guys. And
Dom and them.
So, yeah, those guys have become homies.
There you go. So do y'all have is there I guess I actually went to one of these up at Michelin Star Studios up in the mountains not too long ago, and it was just a bunch of artists of different sorts. Do y'all ever get together like creative minds and geniuses of your crafts and like, we're going to throw a bunch of fucking food down and maybe y'all can bring, your guitars and we'll have a little jam session in the background. Does that happen?
Certainly. I think creatives are attracted to each other, right? No matter what your...
Hence us three hanging out together.
Exactly. what your discipline is, right?
Yeah.
I think creatives appreciate creatives more than most other people appreciate each other. So I've had a chance to do some great collaborations with some musicians. Jennifer Hartwig's become a really tight friend of mine, and we threw a party before... Trey and Wolfpack 2 years ago. So I got to cook for those guys, which was like
What's Trey Anastasio's food?
Vegetarian.
Is he?
Yep.
And I'm sure most of our so we have a fair amount of fish fans that listen, follow, things along those lines, including our guests. So they'll probably all be like, Kip, we already knew that shit.
Yeah. So, I mean, stuff like that is really fun. And then my Magner from the Biscuits has become a good buddy of mine, and he's doing some really cool stuff right now. He just released a solo album. It's going towards that classical jazz 3-piece with him and a big grand piano.
That's awesome.
And
I can get behind that if the Bisco fans won't be there. It always smells like mothballs at those shows. I just can't get behind them. Cervantes is just...
I love Brownie and Magner, so I'm not going to make fun of anything that they're part of. But he's looking at doing this cool new thing, right, for those creatives, pushing his boundaries, and he's like, called me up and was like, what do I do? And then, we started talking. He's like, I want to do it in a farm. I was like, that's way cooler than trying to go to a little jazz club for 50 people. Like, bring in a chef friend and go to a farm and use that produce and have the chef listen to your music and create a menu that would flow with that and do this really cool, immersive, full-on entertainment. You don't need to go anywhere besides here tonight for your music and food.
That's pretty fucking cool.
We've actually seen
Super
that.
cool.
So the guys, when we did Fruition Farms, they had one out at Alex had a 200-person out in his pasture behind his barn and all that shit, and he showed us pictures, and it looks like fantastic. It looks gorgeous. It looks intimate, and it's personable. So it kind of gets you there. And then I like the idea of the 3-piece band and having the chef kind of play off of that. That sounds
super cool.
I also like that maybe he'll reach out to you and be like, "Hey, motherfucker, you want to come cook this?" I guess this jam party.
Yeah. So we're trying to work on something. He's
what's next for Merlin?
He's a Philly boy. Oh, really?
Yeah, right. We've heard of the chef of festivals.
Are we done with all the rapid fire?
Green Sky and Yonder was my last. I touched on a couple different ones.
Okay.
And I won't make you slander any more of your friends. Maybe Dr. Dre versus Eminem.
I'm Dre.
Oh.
I'm California coast, right? You gotta. The Chronic in high school was like one of the most epic albums ever.
I got hot to that all the time.
And I liked NWA, right? So it's like, Easy Does It came out when I was in 8th grade, and that was the fucking greatest thing in the world. So I mean, I'm West Coast.
Hopefully Eminem doesn't hear that, or you might be in trouble.
Marshall's a listener, so
I mean,
huge fan.
This is awesome.
I give that guy mad props. I think he's probably one of the best lyricists that we've ever had, and he can flow and spit faster than anybody. But I think,
is that the word, lyricist? You lost me after that. That's awesome. I was trying to spell that. I was like,
don't try. Don't hurt yourself.
But Dre discovered Eminem, right? Like, come on. I mean, I don't know if he discovered him, but he at least got him on a label and produced him. And so Dre, to me, is kind of one of those OGs where, the Beatles or anybody else, from the Talking Heads. It's like, well, the Talking Heads don't exist unless the Beatles did their thing. So to me, Eminem doesn't exist without Dre doing what Dre did to the hip hop world.
So what's next, Merlin? What's happening?
So I recently resigned from my position with the Kitchen Restaurant Group as culinary director. So I've been a free man, as I like to say, for the summer, which was incredible. But I have a counter service concept that I've come up with about a handful of years ago that I really, really refined over the last couple months, and I'm in the fundraising mode right now.
Hey, so let us help you in this facet. We're going to put some stuff up on our website. Maybe link it to Merlin. I want to get behind this, and we want to promote the shit out of this.
So I've realized that if I want to do fine dining, which I love to do, don't get me wrong, it's that ultimate service to the creative ego, right, is doing fine dining food, especially when you're doing tasting menus and you're not even letting your customer pick what they're going to eat, right? They got to really trust what you're doing, and you're trying to take them on this experience that they've never had. And so I love that, but I have 2 kids, I have a wife, and when I'm not working at that restaurant, I'm more stressed because I'm not in control of what's happening there, right? And so when I take a day off to try to enjoy it with my kids, I'm more concerned about what's happening at the restaurant than being present with my wife and my children. So, and also, what is the fucking end game of a fine dining restaurant, right? How long do fine dining? They don't last that long, right? So you're doing it to get accolades, to get proud.